All right. So in the last class, up to the last class, we have discussed about making a binary tree, how to make a binary tree using this linked list. And as I have said, we will be following, or we will be uh, using this linked list representation to represent all the binary trees, mostly all the binary trees in this course, in this part of the course. And then for another binary tree related topic, that is called heap. For discussing heap, we will be using the array representation. So we have also written one code to make this binary tree. This was the code that we have written, which was exactly the same as this one, where we had made this binary tree and we displayed this one in a different way than this one. So as you can remember, we just rotated this whole tree 90-degree anti-clockwise and we printed the tree. So I asked you to write these 6 functions, uh, which are kind of will be needed, might be needed at some point to implement some larger codes. So they are pretty easy. So the first one, as I have discussed, so it will be returning one binary tree type of node. Given again another binary tree type of node, it will be returning the left subtree. So for example, for this tree, if I pass on this node, then this bt left v will be returning the subtree, and with the tree, the pointer pointing to this node, and so on. Similarly, right will be returning the address of the right subtree. For this one, this will be the returned value, returned address. Then has left, it will be a boolean. It will be returning a boolean whether the node v contain any left child or not. Similarly, has right. Is internal will be returning another boolean value if it's if the present node, that is v, is an internal node, it will be returning true, otherwise false. And is external, given this node n, so I tried to write it v. Sorry for the typo here, it should be v. So is external, v will be returning true if v is an external node. They are pretty easy. I hope if you have not written this, so for the time being, you can, I am sure that you will be able to write this. All right, so we have also discussed about 2 properties. The first property was the tree with n nodes will be having exactly n minus 1 edges. We have proved that. Also, another property or theorem we proved is the maximum number of nodes in a binary tree T of height h will be 2 to the power h plus 1, then minus 1. Maximum number of nodes will be there for a binary tree T with height h. Also, I asked you to prove that the minimum height of a binary tree with n nodes will be log of n plus 1 minus 1. So I will again ask you to do that in your spare time, and if you face any difficulty, we can discuss this. Moving on with the third property. So the third property is a non-empty binary tree with n internal nodes will be having exactly n plus 1 external nodes. So I hope you remember what is an internal node and what is an external node. Can someone tell me what is an internal node? Anyone?
A node which has at least one child.
Yes, a node which is having at least one child is called an internal node, and external node is basically the leaf nodes. All right, so to prove this, we'll be using the induction. we will be considering a tree with only the root. So given only root, so if I consider the linked list representation again, just for the discussion, so it will be, say, the value will say R, it is stored, and the left and the right subtrees are containing null values. In this case, can you say what is this? Is it an internal node or an external node? A tree with only the root. Yes, please.
External.
It is an external node. So basically the node, the root, the tree is containing only one node, and the node is an external node, of course, because it is not containing any left child or right child. So basically this is the root as well as this is the leaf. So in that case, it will be only one external node, so no internal node. So number of external node is 1, number of internal nodes is 0. So it is true for a tree with only the root. Now let the property is true or valid for a tree T with, say, m-1 internal nodes. That means I am assuming that the tree, say for example T, contains m-1 internal nodes. That means I am assuming that it is containing m external nodes. Now let's consider a binary tree, again another binary tree, say T prime, with m internal nodes. Earlier we have assumed that the property is true for m-1 internal nodes. Now I am taking another tree, binary tree, with m internal nodes. So for this this tree, it will look like this, right? So for this tree, so number of internal nodes for this subtree is m, and what is the root here? Is it an external or internal? It is an internal node, right? So internal nodes. And what about the two subtrees? And someone said there's something that is we have already assumed for these two subtrees. So for the whole tree, there are m internal nodes. So if I exclude the root, which is one internal node, so how many internal nodes are there in total in the tree?
-1.
m-1, of course. And I have assumed that the property is true for a tree with m-1 internal nodes. Now notice that these m-1 internal nodes are spreaded or distributed across these two subtrees, right? So this property that I am assuming is pretty important. So I am assuming that the property is true for m-1 internal nodes. It is actually, we are actually assuming that it is true for up to m-1 internal node. So basically if we start from the root, so as we have said earlier or seen earlier, the root, if the tree is containing only the root, it is true. Now if I add another node to it, say L, in this case the number of internal nodes is, and number of external nodes, what will be the relation? Can someone say?
M internal nodes.
What? Please. What will be the relation here? Number of internal and number of external?
Root is internal or L is external.
Root is the internal and this is the external. Then how this property is actually true here for this tree? Anyone? We have one internal nodes and one
So
external nodes.
there is another one, but it's null.
There is another one, but it's null. So this is the null subtree that we also should be considering. So in that case, internal node is 1, but external nodes are 2. So by this, so this is true. So we will be also considering, I mean, so basically my point is this assumption that I'm stating here, this is actually, we are assuming that it is true for up to m-1 internal nodes. So now we have seen that, so for this tree, for m internal nodes, we have seen, I mean, if we exclude the root, it will be containing m-1 internal nodes. And we have already assumed that it is true for for m-1 internal nodes, for which it will be containing m external nodes. Now, if I move forward, so the external nodes, number of external nodes in L, this subtree will be, say, so let's assume that it is containing, say, k internal nodes here, and say, and altogether it is containing m internal nodes. So the whole tree is containing m internal nodes, and the left subtree is containing k internal nodes. So for the left subtree, the number of external node will be k plus 1 based on this assumption. And for the whole tree, sorry, and for the right subtree R, can you say what will be the number of external nodes? So for the whole, yeah, please go ahead. I mean, I have already written this. Can you say why? Please try someone.
Because total
Sir,
internal
it
node
is
is
the total of
-1.
external nodes minus.
Sorry, please repeat from the beginning.
Sir, it is the number of total nodes, that is m,
M number of
minus the number of external nodes,
minus the external nodes,
and then plus 1 because of there should be that many external nodes.
because that many external nodes will be needed. That's what you are saying. So let's check this. So in the whole tree, there are m internal nodes, right? And in this subtree, I mean, we have assumed that this subtree will be containing, I mean, this subtree will be at most containing m-1 internal nodes. Notice my word, I am saying that it will be containing at most m-1 internal nodes. When this subtree will be containing m-1 internal nodes? When this left
When there is
subtree is
no left
null.
subtree.
When the left subtree is null. That means in the whole tree there are m internal nodes, and in the left subtree there are no internal nodes. That means all the internal nodes except the root are in the right subtree. So the right subtree will be containing at most m-1 internal nodes, similar to the left subtree, which will be again containing at most m-1 internal nodes. So we have already seen or assumed that the property is true for up to m-1 internal nodes by induction. So now I have assumed that the left subtree is containing k internal nodes. So this is so altogether there are m internal nodes. So here in this left subtree there are k internal nodes. So the number of internal nodes in the right subtree, how many it will be? Basically m minus k, isn't it? So now the number of internal nodes. So it will be m minus k in this right subtree, because in the whole tree m internal nodes are there. In the left subtree there are k internal nodes. So in the right subtree it will be m minus k. And so basically, and as we have assumed that the, oh sorry, this bracket should not be there. I forgot to, I mistakenly written that. Yeah, so we have assumed, so for this, so altogether there are m minus k number of the internal node. So sorry. So how many? So there is a mistake. Can you point it out? What is the mistake? So how many internal nodes will be there in the right subtree?
So it will be, you are not minusing the
Exactly. I am not subtracting the root. So altogether there are m internal nodes. One of them is root. So the number of internal nodes in the two subtrees are m minus 1. And I am assuming that in the left subtree there are k number of internal nodes. So altogether it will be m minus k minus 1 number of internal nodes will be there in the right subtree. And as we have assumed that it is true for m minus 1 internal nodes, so basically for this, so if the number of internal nodes in the right subtree is m minus k minus 1, then the number of external node will be m minus k minus 1 plus 1. So that's exactly what I have written. So it will be basically m minus k. And the total number of, so it will be basically m minus k. Is it clear to everyone? And the total number of external node will be the number of external node in the left subtree, the number of external node in the right subtree. Because in the root there is the root is an internal node, so there is no point of counting any external node from the root. All the external nodes will be in the either in the left subtree or in the right subtree. So the total number of external nodes will be k plus 1, which is there in the left subtree, and m minus 1, which is there in the right subtree. So altogether, if you do the math, it will be m plus 1. So it is, so by induction, we have proved that if there are m internal nodes in the binary tree, then the number of external node will be m plus 1. Everyone with me? Any question up to this? All right. So next, move on to the fourth property. So in the fourth property, it is stated that the theorem is for any non-empty, again, for any non-empty binary tree. Acha, let me ask you this. Why am I specifying this non-empty thing again and again? Because, come on, I would love to hear from you first.
If a node has only one child, then it will not be true. The last theorem.
Correct. And also a non-empty binary tree is also a binary tree. But what is a non-empty binary tree?
Every node has either 2 or 0 children.
Right. So basically any node that is containing, either, of course not either 2 or 0, it can be 1 as well. So non-empty binary tree means a node, a binary tree containing at least one node. That's exactly what I am meaning, what I want to say by this non-emptiness of a binary tree. So the binary tree is not empty. Now, asking you the counter question, what should be an empty binary tree? I have discussed this earlier briefly.
If there is no root, is that it's empty?
Correct. So basically, if I declare, declare, say, so we have already declared this structure. So this structure. So if I just declare one node of this structure or one object of this structure and initialize the object with null, then we can say it is an empty binary tree. Why? Because we have defined this data type, this abstract data type, this ADT, which is of type binary tree, and one object or one instance of it the only instance of it is containing the value null. So basically the tree is an empty binary tree. Clear? Okay, so the property is again for any non-empty binary tree. So these properties are true for this, particularly this property is true for only a non-empty binary tree, that is a binary tree containing at least one node. For any non-empty binary tree T, if n suffix I is the number of nodes with I children, of course, as it is a binary tree, you can understand that the value of I will be either 0 when so basically n0 will be the number of leaf nodes. The value of I can also be 1. In that case, it will be n1, and it will be the number of nodes with only one child, and the value of I can also be 2. In that case, n2 will be the number of nodes with two children. So the property is again for any non-empty binary tree T, if ni is the number of nodes with I children, then the following relation between n0, that is the number of leaf nodes, and n2, that is the number of nodes having two children, will be n0 equals to n2 plus 1. That is, the number of leaf nodes will be the number of the number of nodes having two child plus 1. Can you prove this? Anyone? Anyone? Can you help me prove this?
Sir, it is the same as the previous one.
It is the same as the previous one. How?
Sir, because n naught is basically the number of external nodes,
Right.
and n2 is the number of internal nodes.
But the internal
Because
nodes, but the n1 is also considering the number of internal nodes, isn't it?
yes. But
Then
sir, N2 will include N1 because N2 is basically saying number of nodes with two children. So we can assume that every node has two children. It can be either null or
no, not actually. So let me draw this one. So if I draw like this, so here, how many, what is the value of n0? N0 is,
1.
no, 2,
Okay, yeah, 2. Sir.
and n2 is, first start with n1.
1.
N1 is 1, only this C, and n2, that is the number of nodes having two child, is only the root node, that is 1. So for this tree, the root is containing two child. So only the root is containing two child. So in that case, n2, the number of nodes with two children, sorry, is 1. It is considering only the root. N1, that is the number of nodes with only one child, is only this C. In that case, n1 equals to 1. And the number of leaf nodes, or the number of nodes having 0 children, is B and D, that is 2. How will we be proving this? So for this tree, we can see that it is true. But in general, how will we be able to prove this? All right, let's try to prove this. So let's assume that n is the total number of nodes in the tree. So if I consider one tree again, once again, so n is the total number of nodes. So basically, n will be the the total number of nodes here. Sorry. So n is the total number of nodes here. And we have assumed that n0 is the number of leaf nodes, n1 is the number of nodes with one child, n2 number of nodes with two children. So what will be the value of n here based on n0, n1 and n2? Please, someone. N is the total number of nodes.
n0 plus n1 plus n2.
M0 plus then n1
plus n2.
plus. Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
Is it correct for this one? I am specifying here the total number of nodes. Total number of nodes in the binary tree. Oh yeah, absolutely, it is true. Yes. Moving ahead. So I was kind of, I mean, confused with. Never mind. Okay. So n1, n0 again, n0, n1, and n2 is the number of nodes with no child, single child, or two children. So n1 will be n0 will be n0 plus n1 plus n2, of course. Then can you say what will be the number of branches in this tree? This thing we have already proved in the first property. So how many branches will be there? Anyone?
N minus 1.
N minus 1, you are saying?
Yes.
Why?
So it was like the property that if there are total n.
Correct. So in the property 1, we have mentioned that a tree with n nodes will be having exactly n minus 1 branches. So based on this property 1, it will be, so basically the number of branches of this node, as there are n number of nodes altogether in the tree, so the branches will be n minus 1. And so as you can see, these branches can only be spread from a node from which is containing either one child or two children, right? So for this tree, so from these three nodes, so let's add another. So there are three leaf nodes here, this one, and this one. And the branches cannot start from these three nodes. Here the total number of nodes is 7, and the number of branches, as you can see, it's 6. So considering this, it is containing 2 branches. Considering this, it is containing 1 branch directly from it. Considering this one, this is again containing 1 branch. Considering this one, this is on 1, and this is 0, 0. This is again 0. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Sorry, I missed some place. What am I missing here? Can you please point it out?
The right side node has 2
Oh, sorry.
children.
Excuse me, sorry. This is the problem with sometime focusing on this screen so for so long. Yeah, so for altogether 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, basically 6 branches or 6 edges are there in this tree, isn't it? Okay. So as you can see, the point in making this tree is to make you understand that these branches or these edges will be only starting from the nodes having either one child, for example this or this, or having two children, for example, this or this. Now, can you say there is, I mean, how to prove this? It's pretty easy now. So the number of branches will be altogether n minus 1. And the branches can start from only these two nodes, right? Only these two nodes, this one and this one. Now let me ask you, how many branches can start from this n1 nodes? The nodes participating in this n1.
N1.
I mean, for each one it is 1. Altogether it will be n1, absolutely correct. And for this n2, it will be for each node it will be 2. And then, yeah, please go ahead.
2 and 2.
2 and 2 means 2 and 2, right. 2 and 2, right. Basically, why? Because every node will be participating. For example, this and this. For every node, it will be participating in adding two nodes, basically two branches or two edges. So as you can see from this node and this node, we are adding 4 edges or 4 branches. So if I again considered only these 2 nodes, it is actually participating in adding 4 new branches. This one, this one, this one, and this one. So altogether it will be 2 into n2. Now, so the total number of nodes will be what? So n minus 1 will be, tell me, 2 into n2 plus n1, isn't it? Isn't it? Have I written it correctly?
Yes.
Now, so basically n minus 1 equals to 2 into n2 plus n1. Now we have already know that n is, the value of n will be n0 plus n1 plus n2. Now if I replace the value of n here, so it will be n0 plus n1 plus n2 minus 1, this minus 1, equals to 2 into n2 plus n1. Now if we do the math, this 2 will cancel out, and if we take this n2 in the, n2 minus 1 in the right side, you will be able to see, or we will be getting n0 equals to 2n2 minus n2 plus 1, right? This 1 will be going here. So altogether it will be n2 plus 1. You get it? Anyone having any question? So this is exactly what we have done here formally. So B0 number of branches will be n1 plus 2n2, and so number of branches is, as we have seen, it's based on the first property. We should be mentioning this here based on property 1. So n minus 1 equals to n2 n1 plus 2n2, and then, I mean, doing the simple maths, we will be getting this. Okay, so any question up to this? Up to the 4 properties that we have discussed? All right, then moving ahead. The next important thing that we will be discussing, it is one of the most important topic in this course. So it is called traversal. So for binary tree traversal, it means the process of visiting and processing all the nodes in a tree. So as we have seen in the linear data structures, that is, we have already discussed about array, linked list, stack and queue, we have already seen that the way we will be able, we have accessed the, or we have visited the individual nodes or individual items stored in the array or linked list or stack or queue are in sequential order. So let's consider, say for example, a stack. So I hope you remember what stack is. So stack is just the one-ended data structure. So every insertion will be happening from this top, and every deletion will also be happening from the top. So as you can see, if I put some values here, say A, then B, then say C, I will be unable to access B or A without accessing C. First, we have to access C, then we'll be able to access B, then A, in this order. For Q, this is true as well. As you may know, as you may recall, that a queue, there are 2 pointers. One is front and one is rear. So in the front end, from the front end, the deletion will be happening, and from the rear end, the insertion will be happening. So we will be unable to access one item, one internal item, say this one, without removing or without deleting items from the front up to this point. So it was, the point is similar to the stack, the access was top down, from the top up to the down, and for the queue it was from left to right. For linked list, similarly, as we have seen, whether it is a singly linked list or a doubly linked list, we always starts with a head. For our convenience, we may store the ending address to some variable, but as you may recall, most of the times we start from the, accessing the linked list from the very beginning or from the head. So again, it is the access, the way of access is linear. So we will be able to access this from left to right. So I have discussed about this, this, and this. Now what about array? So I am saying that, of course, array is a linear data structure and elements are visited sequentially. But we know that we can access the intermediate ones as well. Like if there are, say, 10 items, so if I want to access the fifth element, so we can access it. So if the array is, say, for A, I can access the fifth element by A4, isn't it? Then why am I saying that linear array is, we only be able to access the array sequentially? Can anyone answer this? Anyone? Please respond.
So in order to visit the fourth element, we have to first pass all the elements 0 up to 3. Then we can only access the fourth element. So if we have to also delete, also we need to delete the subsequent elements and then place it in the required order.
Okay, but as I am saying, I can directly access this. Without accessing A0, A1, A2 or A3, I can directly access A4.
Sir, but you are doing that because when you are typing A, it is actually the pointer address of the
very nice, very nice, absolutely correct.
4 times the size of the array, it is automatically being added.
Very nice, very nice answer. This is exactly the same, the correct answer. So if I consider this memory representation again for the array. So let's consider it is containing 1, 2, 3, 4, say this many elements, say 6 elements. So from 0 to 5. So now if I want to access this, so if say in the memory the location for this position is 1000, then this position is, if it is integer and the size of integer is say 4 bytes, then what will be the starting address of this second element? Tell me please. 1004, isn't it? So in between from 1000 to 1003, the first element will be stored in the memory. Then from 1004 to 1007, the second element will be stored, and the third element will be stored from 1008 to 2011. This one from 2012 to 15, sorry. So altogether there are 6 elements, and the ending will be on 1023, because 6 into 6 elements and size of each element is 4 bytes. So altogether it is 24 bytes. As you can see, it's 1000 from 1023. And to access this, say A3, so this is A3, right? So to access A3, we need to, internally what is happening, by writing this A3 here, what is happening is we are actually starting from the starting point. We are traversing this array from the very beginning. And then what we are doing, so basically to go to the A12, so we are basically using this this address of this this first 3 or 0, 1, 2 indices to get the index value of this third position or third index value, and we will be able to access the element which is stored here, say A. So that's why array accessing or array traversal are also in the sequential order, and we cannot skip. That is exactly why it is similar to this linked list or stack or queue. You might get confused by this, as I am saying that I can actually access A3 directly, but it is not actually accessing A3 directly. We are actually going through from the beginning, from 0, 1, 2, then I am coming here. Great. Thanks a lot for answering this. All right. So for the hierarchical data structures, there are many ways an element can be visited. Unlike this linear data structures, where we have seen that every time it is linear. For linked list, it is linear. For array as well, it is linear from left to right. For stack, it is also linear. Linear in the sense from left to right as well. But for, if we consider this pictorial view of a stack, it is from top to bottom. And for queue as well, it is same from left to right. All right. So hierarchical data structures that we are discussing here in this course is tree, and many ways we can access the different elements. Let's consider this binary tree. As you can see, it is a binary tree, of course. There are two, so basically this is the root node or any internal nodes in these two subtrees. So the root node is containing the data as well as a left pointer and right pointer to left subtree and right subtree. And all the nodes in this left or right subtree are containing nodes in this manner. That is, it will be containing one data part, one left pointer part, and one right pointer part. All right. So if I consider the letter D to process the current node, letter R to visit the left subtree, and letter L to indicate the visit of the right. Oh, extremely sorry, I have missed mistyped this. It should be right subtree. Extremely sorry about this. So it will be right subtree and it will be left subtree. Then how many ways can we access? How many ways can we access all the nodes? So let's draw one tree here as well. So A, B, so let's consider this A, B, C. So basically this left subtree is containing another node, similar type of node, which is containing B, and the left and right pointers are null. Here the data is A, and here in the right subtree it is containing C, and the left and right pointers are null. Then how many ways can we visit this? Of course, we will be starting, we will be start our visit of the nodes or visit of all the elements in the tree from the root, of course. Then how many ways can we process the individual elements? Can someone say? Please, someone. I am online, right? Yes. Okay, so please help me to, how many ways can we process this A, B, and C?
So 3.
3. How many? What is the first way of accessing?
From A to B, then again A, then C.
Yeah, so basically by processing, I mean just to get the value is stored. And then
Yes.
what is the second
Then
way?
BAC,
BAC.
CAP, then CAP.
But
Then what is what about say ACB?
AC, ABC
Let's-
and ACB are possible.
What about ACB? What about say CAB? Yes, CAB. And what about say, oh, CAB is there, sorry, extremely sorry. And what about say BCA? And what about CBA? These 3 are also possible, isn't it? You agree?
Sir, BCA and CAB, how can they be? Because I
We
can't
need a-
directly go from B to C.
BCA and CAB are BCA and
BAC.
CAB. No, actually, yeah. So BCA and basically BCA and ACB
ACB,
are kind of
right.
similar. CAB, sorry, ABC and CBA are kind of similar. I'll be telling why. And BAC and CAB are kind of similar. But note that we can do this. Of course, as you were saying, ABC is a way, BAC is another way, but CAB is kind of similar to BAC. So let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. So consider again this tree. I am currently in the root node. I am visiting the root node. Note that I am not processing the root node. This is very important. You should be distinguishing between visiting and processing. Visiting means I am at the corresponding point, or I'm I'm currently standing at the current node. Processing means I am actually accessing this data. So currently I am visiting A, not processing A. So what options do I have? First option is I can process A. Second option is I skipping the processing of A here, I can visit B. This is a PA. process A, second option is visit B, and third option is visit C. And after visiting, I can process. So as you can see, if I visit here, there is no other left subtree or right subtree. Then the only option for me is to process this, right? So after visiting B, I should be processing it. After visiting C, I should be processing it. Now, after processing A, the first option that I had, there are two options. I'm sure you know what are the options. The options are again visit B or visit C. So after visit B, of course the immediate step will be processing B, as I have said, and after visiting C, the obvious step will be to process C. But consider this. Okay, let's complete this. So now, considering the first option, I have processed A, then either I have processed B or either I have processed C. So now the next option is I need to go back. I need to go back from here to here, and I need to process the rest of the elements. So basically, after this, I need to visit C, and then I will be able to process C. Similarly, after this, I need to visit B, and I need to process B. But wait a second. Here, after visiting B and processing B, can I visit C? Because as you can see in this node structure, there is no pointer that is pointing to its root. So for here, I am actually visiting means the pointer that I am using is actually pointing to this. But there is no pointer from here to here. There is a pointer from here to here, but there is no pointer using which we will be able to go from here to the A. But we need to, after visiting B, we need to take this pointer to C. And there is only one way from B to C, that is through this, via this A. Then how will we be able to visit C? Anyone?
We will always know the root address because it's the starting address.
Yes, the
So,
root is always there, but if we consider another node here, then what you are saying is we are storing root at some point, at some variable at some point of time. And PTR is here, so if I want to go here, I just again need to reinitialize PTR with the root, then I will be able to go to right. Then what about this? So if I come to here, so PTR is here, then how will you be able to go from here to here or here to here?
sir, I will. What I will do is I will do like this. PTR left. I will check before going that whether the next pointer is null or not. If there is no null, then I will not visit it before.
Consider this tree. So I have say here I have stored say D and E. Then the pointer, the PTR, first it was initialized to here, then it has come to here, then it has come to here. Now there is no left right pointer, null. Then how will I be able to go take this PTR from here to here? You get my question, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then how will I be able to do this? Okay, we are kind of running short of time. So we will be continuing this discussion tomorrow. So I will ask you to study this from your end as well. It is very interesting, as you can see. So everything is pointed here, everything. So all these manipulations are through pointer. Note that this was also pointers as well. But the thing is, we were able to use this kind of things like A4 will be or A3. We were kind of skipping these three elements directly to go to directly here. Or for stack or queue, it is straightforward as there is no other option. For stack, we will only be able to access the topmost element, and for queue, we will only be able to access the frontmost element. And for array, of course, we can access any element, but it is kind of linear sequential visiting as well. But here, as I have said, there are multiple options of visiting. The confusion is arising of how will we be able to go from one subtree to another subtree, isn't it? It's actually going from one subtree of this whole tree, that is D, to another subtree, visiting another subtree, that is the C. So this is actually very interesting. We'll be discussing this tomorrow.